What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Best Family Homestead. And today I've got to figure out what to do. But I must say, it is kind of nice coming out and watching the sun come up back there through the trees and seeing, even if it's not perfect, seeing a pretty backyard. Ish. Well, compared to what it was. I've been wanting to get that done for years now, and so it feels good to finally have it finished. So now I gotta figure out what the heck I'm gonna do. I've been so involved with this, I hadn't really thought too much ahead. So I think today I'm going to finish picking up the mess back here, get my tools rounded up, finish mowing and weeding the front yard because it needs it desperately, and getting all that cleaned up. Do all that this morning. Hope I can get it all done by 8:30 or 9, and we'll see where we go from there. Probably just go ahead and bite the bullet and buckle down and get started on cleaning up my shop. I've got a whole lot of really fun projects I want to do that I can't finish until I clean up my shop, if I will stop getting interrupted. All right, well, let's get to work. Squirrel. My house. They are loving the big backyard. All right, everybody, so of course I went down a rabbit hole and was tinkering on the boys' Jeep a little bit. Lost track of time, so now half the day's gone. But just trying to, still not running exactly enough to make me happy, you know, with my son driving it and all. So I'll keep tinkering on it so he can have it here in a couple months. But like I said, I'm getting started on this horrific disaster. You know, got cleaned up out here a little bit. I'm about to bag some trash up and stuff, and instead of just moving stuff from one place to the other and that kind of thing, I'm gonna do something a little bit different than I normally do with my shop cleanup, and I'm going to kind of fix things as I go. One, it gives me a break from cleaning everything, and two, it's just, it needs to be done. If I move something, say I'm gonna fix that next week, I won't fix it. So before it goes anywhere else, it gets fixed. If it doesn't get fixed in a timely amount of time, I didn't need it. So the first thing we're gonna work on is the bench that I said Aiden broke, but it's been outside in the weather. I think we've had that bench for good, I don't know, it's not antique, but we've had it for a really long time. So this is my bench for doing lives and stuff now, so I need to get it going again, and I'm just going to clean it up and we're going to weld it back together. Well, that's horrifically ugly. I'll slap a little spray paint on it, but it's not going anywhere. It'll do. I got somewhere to do my live videos again now. All right, let's get back to cleaning some stuff up. So I'll find something else to fix. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in so I don't forget. I go ahead and put it in the first shop cleanup video. Anyone who feels the need to make snide ridiculously obvious and rude comments such as, wow, you really have a mess. You should have been cleaning up after yourself. Or you need to throw some stuff away. Or anything along those lines, you'll instantly be blocked from communicating or from posting anything on the channel until after the garage cleanup's open. Or over. Sorry, just not in the mood for it. It's been a rough few weeks, and yeah, Aaron's a little testy right now. You know, the random things. I just bought one, another cheap one for the mystery vine, and they're all along, of course. So I do have a method to this. So here's my overall plan. The bench just is here. Oh, look at that. It looks like I need to probably go ahead and fix that leg while I've got it out here. Oops. So I've got like my woodworking stuff. I've got a container for carpentry clamps and stuff. I've got one that's going to be fasteners, tools, specialty tools, buckets of tools. You know, the big stuff I don't want to get rid of. Over here is going to be like little stuff. This is my to fix pile. You can see I've got a lot of stuff to fix. This is my supplies, building supplies type stuff. I'm putting all my garden, farm, homesteading type stuff there. And then got another bucket here for random nuts and bolts and screws. And we will clean that out too. And organize those once we get the big part done. And then just, you know, some of that old odds and ends kind of stuff I need to get in a better place. But so what I'm doing is I'm cleaning all this out. I'm moving everything. Excuse me, hush. So I'm trying to clean all this out and get it out from under here. That way I can take the tractor, clean it out, and because it's a little bit lower, there's this dip right here. I'm gonna get some of the big pile of red clay that's back there. I'm gonna try and raise the level of it a little bit, because I don't have money to pour a pad right now. But once I get all this side cleaned completely out, I'm gonna fix my shelves with doors on them, because that's one of the problems. The chickens get up there and knock everything off and poop everywhere. So, mama! So I need to make doors or something for them, and then I'll have a whole clean area here to start putting stuff back in. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, build better shelves, organize, get everything out here, get rid of the junk, because there's no point in even starting in there until I have a place to put stuff, because I want that to be bare minimum in there, just for a big open area for doing carpentry projects, slum projects, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I want to make space for a lot of the random stuff in there. Will you hush? Good Lord. Anyway, I will probably come back and try and repeat that, because she's angry, even though I've fed them chicken food and cat food today. Mama! Alright, so this is the tarp from the old one of those I had that the storm blew down last year. And finally got around to putting that one up a little while ago. But they don't make you return everything. You take like one piece is broken there and you're good. So I was pleased with that. If I hadn't had all that extra stuff, I would have been kind of screwed, because with the new one they didn't send me everything. Well, this I had in the shop floor in there. And of course, it was when the goats were getting out and everything and getting peed on. But my new plan for it was to put it over the camper, make a shade for the camper. Yeah, and then the goats get on it and destroy it. So luckily, I'm cleaning everything out. I'm gonna spray this thing off, and there we go. Spray this thing off and then hang it over something to dry. realize I'm kind of dumb, wasting time trying to wash that tarp. Sometimes I have the good ideas after the fact. But I want to fix it. Why work harder when you can work smarter? And now I'll just let that run for a little while. And wash it off. All right, folks. So I'm going to show you, I got sidetracked again, obviously, but that's always been one of the things that makes me happy. It's the little science experiments, tinkering. I used to do nickel plating. I mean, anything like that always interests me, and I love doing it. So I'm going to show you all today how to remove rust from hand tools, really from anything. There's different ways to do this and different things needed, but the basic steps are always the same, even something like this. So they do have like rust remover and a spray can and all this kind of stuff, and for the most part that stuff is not cheap at all. There's two products I like to use. First is phosphoric acid, concrete and metal prep. Second is muriatic acid, same thing, concrete, masonry, bricks. All that happens is both these chemicals react with the any kind of oxide, iron oxide, you know, calcium oxide, any kind of oxidation, and causes it to remove. Now, a couple safety notes here. Yes, I've got gloves on and glasses. You know me, you know I always wear this stuff when I'm doing this. No, actually this is one thing I actually do, because I did get a pretty wicked chemical burn doing some nickel plating once, but it was also 190 degree and a pH of 2, so it was pretty ridiculous. So I'm going to go ahead and use the phosphoric acid. Not quite, in my experience, not quite as heavy duty, and we don't need to make much, so we're just going to put a little bit in here. You can also make the solution in a spray bottle and spray it on if you want. I prefer to dip it, and I don't ever really follow the directions. I've just done it so long, I just usually about a 1 to 3 mix or something like that, and then I've got a lid for this bucket so I can put it on, a lid on it, and reuse it over and over and over. Generally a little bit better to degrease everything first, but since we're just doing a demonstration, I'm not going to worry about it. But normally I would have a tank of like degreaser water and have it sitting in the degreasing water, and then let it set for a while and take it out. Now, you saw I put my water in. If you want to try this at home, you saw me put my water in my bucket first before I put my acid in. Always, 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 always add acid to water, never add water to acid. Because if it does have a reaction, if you add a little bit of acid to water, that water dilutes the acid and the chemical reaction, so if it, you know, violently reacts, you're not going to get a face full of strong acid. Whereas if you add some water to acid and it reacts, now you've got concentrated acid, more acid than water. So always add your acid to your water. The rest of this is pretty easy. Now, depending on what strength you mix your chemicals up, and I really don't have this very strong. I usually go closer to full strength, really, but I've got a lot of stuff to dip, so. And this is also the green muriatic acid, the environmentally friendly muriatic acid. I prefer full strength, the real stuff that you, and even I wear a respirator with, because all this rust would have been gone in like 2 or 3 seconds with that. But on the flip side of that, it burns like a son of a gun if you get it on your skin, and if you leave it too long, it's going to destroy the metal. It'll pit the metal. And always make sure when you're using any kind of acids and stuff like this, don't put aluminum in it, especially muriatic acid. If you try and put any aluminum, which you shouldn't need to anyway, make sure with muriatic acid that you don't have any kind of aluminum hardware or anything on your tools, because if you do, it is going to, you'll come back and you'll literally have nothing left. They'll just eat it. All right, so we're gonna let that set in there for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and check it out. Oh yeah. While our tools are setting, let's go check on our tarp. And you notice I don't have copper out here. One, because I know there's stuff spilt under that shed, which is one reason I want to add extra dirt and get some dirt out. And the other is that I don't want copper getting into anything until I go through it all. Before it was always too cluttered for him to even get in. And especially using acid and stuff, that dummy would go up and drink it. All right. Hey, look at that. That did a much better job than me washing it. And there's the copper pot. He's actually really having fun playing outside in the big yard. Oh, good Lord. Yes, well, you know that live wire thing I said I didn't think I was going to have to do? I'm going to have to do it. Well, so much for not working on that fence for a couple weeks. So I'll probably just get up early in the morning and just run that live wire real quick. Come on, Panda. Alright, let's see where we're at here. I think I'm probably going to actually have to degrease this. There, now you can see full strength how it starts to react really fast. This is also caked up with rust. Alright, so this is loosened up nice, and that's really what I was after. I don't really care if I have all the rust off of it, but it was kind of hard to open and close. Oh, there we go. Same with this one. Yeah, this one's starting to look much better. And it was stuck totally closed when we started. So that one I'm just going to rinse off. It's going to have to probably get muriatic acid on it. But now these are freed up. Wasn't, like I said, too worried about making it look like new. I wanted them to function, and now they do function. Now this next part is extremely important to the process. If you just take these tools that you've dunked in acid and rinse them off, even if you oil them, you're going to come back in a day or two and they're going to be pretty much solid bars of rust. Okay, so we've got to neutralize that acid, and what I used here was sodium bicarbonate. Sodium carbonate, aka baking soda, also works well, and it is cheaper. It's just not as refined as sodium bicarbonate, and it works just as well for a lot less money. I didn't have it, so I can see the salt water fizzing. And again, the same thing if you don't rinse this really well. And one of the reasons I don't really like taking everything all the way down to the bare steel, getting all the rust off, there's still a little bit of protective coating on here, so I don't want to strip all that off, and it will after a while. You can see still it's nice and loose. I'll tell you what I'm going to grab real quick. All right, give me a second to find it. And I'll show you guys a lot more of this when I get ready to make my big vat. There we go. You can see that acid worked pretty good, loosened all this stuff up. And you can also see I took all the bluing off of it, which is gonna make it rust faster, but it was so rusted up I could not use it. All right, now this is another very important step. So we cleaned it with acid, we neutralized the acid with our salt water. Just dunking this in water is not going to be enough. You want to run, which is why it's kind of, you know, I'm way overkilling for just a couple tools. I could have done this with a much smaller setup if I'd felt like taking the time to get smaller bowls, which usually means me raiding the kitchen, and that bugs my wife so bad. She'll come asking, where's this pot, where's this bowl? I know it's in the garage. But when I get ready to do all the rusty tools, which I'm going to, it'll be in batches with a lot of tools at a time. And usually I will leave them in a running water tank, running a lot of water for 30-45 minutes. And I'll degrease everything first. A lot of this I learned from when I was a gunsmith, and one of the first things I did out of the military was get my gunsmithing license. And one of my favorite things was hot blowing guns. And so I got pretty good at removing rust and polishing things. All right, that will do for these. And of course, after I was already set up, I went looking and I realized I didn't have much penetrating oil, and I didn't have the oil I actually wanted. The best oil to use for this kind of thing is called Krull oil, K-R-U-L-L, or Kreel, K-R-E-L-L. I think they're the same thing. It's really expensive. A can like this will run you, I think, $25. I've got a new bottle of it, a can of it somewhere. I don't feel like the noise of the air compressor, but it is best to blow all the water and stuff out of here. And then the best thing when you do this is another very expensive item we use when blowing guns, and it's a water displacing oil. and it's an oil that's pretty much, it's thinner than water, much thinner than water, so it goes in the cracks and that even the water can't get to, and if water's in there, it drives all the moisture out. Places that WD-40 or PB Blaster can't even begin to touch. Hopefully I can get enough oil out of this. See, and the good stream of oil will be the best. Oh, there we go. And the nice thing with the water displacing oil, you have a tub of it, and I might go ahead and order. It's like $70 a gallon, $80. It used to be that much. God only knows what it is now. And you put it in there for overnight, but then you take it out and you hang it up over your bucket of oil, covered, because it will absolutely, it's so thin it will go into the goodness gracious, evaporate. That's what I was looking for. But that way it can actually sit in there for a while, and then you hang it up for a couple minutes above the bucket, so any excess oil falls back into your pan or bucket. All right, and I know that was pretty painful to watch because I'm a little out of practice, but this was rusty, locked up, almost wouldn't work, and I'm gonna have to get some Kroll oil tomorrow or find mine and finish spraying down all the little cracks. But now that works, and this pair of vice grips here, I could not twist that when I started, and it would barely close and lock, and now it's working like new. And as long as I don't leave it out in the weather and I take care of it, I won't have any more issues out of it, and it looks a lot better than it did. So like I said, I'll do more on making bigger batches and smaller batches as I start cleaning all my rusty tools, and then I'm not going to let them get that rusty again. And with the salt water, not a big deal. I'm going to take the salt water and dump it in the driveway in the grass. With our acid, I'm going to put this over here and put the lid on it, and I can reuse this when I start doing the bigger batches of tools. So that will be good, and put everything away. Well, there we go. Aaron's tip of the day. All right, everybody. Well, I think I want to cut out a little bit early tonight. Got a good start to cleaning up the shop, and got a little bit of mowing done, mowed the front. So back to the grind, but I'm really looking forward to having the shop usable again. I usually do a good clean on it about every 7 or 8 months, but I've let it go. So we're gonna get it done. And first thing in the morning, I'm gonna go ahead and knock out that stupid live wire at the bottom of that fence. Rescue dogs, I swear. All right, well, make sure and like, subscribe, and share, especially because I'm gonna be doing the projects like today, random fixing stuff and whatnot as I go. So you don't want to miss any of that. All right, everybody, have a good evening.